everyone. Ogre27 Kane here today, and we're going to do our top 10 Nintendo Switch games of 2023. All of these games were released digitally and physically in 2023. We had to keep the rules very strict because there were a lot of games I wanted to include. Now, yes, you will see a lot of remakes and remasters on this list, but frankly, this was the year of remakes and remasters. Every single one on this list deserves its spot and was absolutely fantastically done. I can't really argue with any of the efforts given, so let's go ahead and start off with our first one.
Risa no Atelier 3 終わりの錬金術師と秘密の鍵
So in our number 10 spot, we have Atilla Risa 3, Alchemist of the End, and the Secret Key. This was released on May 22nd, 2023. Sorry, I had to do that. I couldn't resist. Anyways, this is an absolutely fantastic RPG. It puts all kinds of different mechanics together, turn-based and real-time elements, and it incorporates its own new systems. It's an absolute refinement on the Atilla Risa series, and frankly folks, it's in my number 10 spot because I haven't got to play it much. I'm sure it'd be higher up on the list if I had, because I absolutely love Atilla Risa 1 and 2, and I'm not done with Atilla Risa 2. These games are very much story-driven, and you do want to play each game through succinctly. So, if this game looks good, I highly recommend checking out this series because it's one of my favorite RPG series on the Switch. The last thing I really want to mention about this game is that I do recommend you pick these up soon, as all of them tend to hold their value very well. Atilla Risa 2 is really expensive now, and it's not one you want to think about trying to get 5 or 10 years down the road from now. So, with that being said, let's move on now to our number 9 spot.
Risa and the Lost Demon.
Well, here at number 9, we have Bayonetta Origins, Risa and the Lost Demon, released March 17th, 2023. This game was an absolute surprise to me. I really didn't know what to expect, as I knew the mechanics were going to be completely different than all the other Bayonetta games. But this game is almost like a tandem rhythm game. Each joystick controls each character, and you have to perform certain actions and movements with the characters to get them to work in said tandem. Now, you'd think this mechanic would conflict with itself and be kind of difficult, but the game is rather slow-paced and really does set itself as a storybook. So none of these elements bothered me, and I really highly enjoy this game. I've not finished it yet, but being what it is, it's a pleasant surprise, and it's always nice to see a big studio try something different and try to, spring another offspring off of it, if you will. The other thing I have to mention is that this game doesn't really require you to have played any of the other Bayonettas. It has its own standalone story and its own mechanics. So, if you need to try something different on the Switch and you just want a relaxing little adventure, I highly recommend checking this game out. Let's move on now to number 8. Well, here at number 8, we have Warhammer 40k Bolt Gun, released digitally on May 23rd and physically on September 5th, 2023. This game is exactly what it looks like. It's a Doom clone, but it's a really, really good one. If you've seen my review or any of my video on Proteus, then you know I really enjoy these style of games. So this game was a no-brainer for me. Now, that being said, this game is extremely difficult, really difficult, and it doesn't really allow you many options to upgrade or change your character. You just kinda gotta get better as you go. That being said, the game does allow you a full cheat menu that you can utilize at any time and turn on and off in the game, in the level, and not have to worry about anything. I play this specifically on the Switch because I used to have a problem on the Xbox with trying to get achievements, and I wouldn't take these chances because I'd risk losing that achievement. On the Switch, I have a lot more fun with it because I don't care. I just want to get through the game and enjoy it, and frankly, that's what video games are to me. They're fun and enjoyment. I love this game, and I really think you should try it out if it looks at all intriguing to you, because it is a good value for what it is. So let's move on now to number 7. Well, here at number 7, we have Octopath Traveler 2, released February 24th, 2023. This game is a blast. I really was impressed with the first Octopath Traveler in every way, shape, and form. Battle system functionality, graphics, art, animation, everything you could imagine. This game is actually a step up from that. Not only are the characters' stories a little more involved and a little better in my opinion, but they tie together a lot better. The game also does a better job of stretching all of itself out in a way that's more organic. You want to see all these characters through without as much needless grinding as you had in the first game. One of my biggest gripes about the first one is as you get towards the end of the game, if you really want to complete it and see everything, you have to put about 30 hours of grinding in to get everybody up to snuff. This game doesn't necessarily have that problem. So if you were turned off by that mechanic in the first Octopath, you might enjoy this one. On top of that, it has all of the same elements to that, but built on. So every ability and every item and weapon you had is there, but times 10 and times 10 greater. So check this game out. It's an absolute blast. Let's move on to number 6. Well, here at number 6, we have Star Ocean's Second Story R, released November 2nd, 2023. And this game is a remake of a remake, essentially. It started out on the PS1 and I don't know if it was on the Sega Saturn or not, but it goes back a long ways. It was remastered for the PSP and they added a bunch of elements and quality of life upgrades. And now remastered again for the Switch and the PS4, PS5, and so on and so forth. This game is fun no matter which version you choose to play. Obviously, having it on the Switch has the best quality of life improvements, and you have the improved portability over the PSP, but if you choose to go back and play it on that version, you're not going to be disappointed. This game has an absolutely enormous story, a very lengthy story that expands over a massive world. So there's plenty to do, plenty to find, lots of upgrades, items, character elements, system pieces, and it's a bit of a futuristic mix with fantasy story. So it has elements of both. On top of that, as you can see, the world map here was redone in an absolutely beautiful way. The art style in this game is top notch, so I recommend checking it out. Let's move on now to our next game. Well, coming in here at number 5, we have the Red Dead Redemption Remastered Collection. This includes Red Dead Redemption and the Undead Nightmare DLC. This was released digitally on August 17th and physically on October 13th, 2023. Now, I originally played these back on the Xbox 360 and the PS3, so it's been a long time since I've had my hands on this game. This remaster, in my opinion, is a much needed improvement, and it fixes and stabilizes everything in the game. I didn't have any performance issues or any slowdown, I didn't have any frame rate drops per se, and the game has a ton of needed quality of life improvements. On top of that, I think the art style holds up very well, and the gameplay is still fun to this day. This is one of my favorite open world RPGs. Yes, I'm going to use that term because you do grow as a character and you do upgrade and enhance. You get better horses, better guns, you expand and learn and grow through the map. So it's kind of weird to say that, but yeah, it is a Western open world RPG. I love it, and I hope they bring us Red Dead Redemption 2 on the Switch soon. So let's move on to our number 4 spot now. Number 4, Super Mario's RPG. So this game was released on November 17th, 2023. This is a remake, remaster if you will, of an old Super Nintendo classic RPG. It was a collaboration between Square Enix and Nintendo, and one that hopefully we'll see some fruit from here in the future. It's kind of cool that they brought this back and they got to at least agree on how to bring it back. This game has a great art style, and it really is the forefront to the Paper Mario series. All elements that you'll find in that series kind of sprang and rooted from this. In my opinion though, this is the best of all of the Mario RPG style games. I like this better than all of the Paper Marios, and I'm happy they gave us this one in specific. I am pretty excited for the Thousand Year Door, as that is a great game as well, but this one goes back to my childhood and my roots. I actually remember getting this game as a child. Now, you can pick this game up still physically, and it's digital, but I recommend collecting this one physically, as it does have nostalgia if you're around my age group, and you should have some sort of attachment to it as I do if you grew up with Nintendo games. So let's move on now to our next one. Well, here at our number 3 spot, we have Vernal Edge, released digitally March 14th and physically December 15th, 2023. Now, frankly, folks, this is the game that held my list up so long. I decided to wait till I could get my hands on this game, and when I finally did get this game, it blew my mind. I'm glad I waited. There were a lot of great Metroidvanias I played this year, and this definitely rivals some of the best. All the mechanics in this game work absolutely perfectly and fantastically, and all of the combat fits well. All of the enemies look great, the art style is great, they're varied, there's enough going on to keep you entertained and looking for secrets. And on top of that, one of the coolest parts, check out this open world, folks. I absolutely love this. It makes you feel like a sky pirate back on the Dreamcast. This game has one of the coolest open worlds you'll ever see. Each one of these islands that you see is its own little Metroidvania map and has its own little secrets, areas, world to explore, its own boss, its own thing to do, and there's tons of it. This game is fairly long for a Metroidvania. I want to say if you want to explore everything, it'll take you a good 15 to 20 hours. That doesn't seem like much, but for a Metroidvania, that's quite a bit these days. So, if you've been waiting to check this game out too, I highly recommend it because it's worth the money, and as you see, being as new as it is to me, I just started playing it on December 15th, it jumped all the way up to number 3. So let's move on to our next. So here in our honorable mention section, we have Ghost Song. This game was released digitally on November 3rd, 2022, and physically on July 28th, 2023. As you can tell by the rules I have in my video, I could not include this one in the main list itself as it was released digitally last year. That being said, it's an absolutely fantastic game, and this game reminded me a lot of Super Metroid. If you need a good Super Metroid callback or a good fix to it, I highly recommend this game. It has a ton of the same elements, including wall jumping and some other things. It is based on your cannon, but you do have a physical attack as well. This game is great. Go check it out. Let's move on now to our number 2. Well, here at number 2, we have Metroid Prime Remastered, released digitally on February 8th and physically on February 22nd, 2023. Any other year, this game would have easily been my number 1 game, as this is one of my favorite games of all time. It is my favorite in the Metroid Prime series and one of my favorite Metroids, only rivaling a couple others. That being said, the number 1 game on this list was pretty much a shoo-in. If you know anything about me, you probably already know what it is. But I absolutely love the fact that they brought back Metroid Prime Remastered to us, and I'm praying they give us the second and third ones. They're both fantastic games as well, and they complete the trilogy. But you do not need to experience them to know what made this game so magical. The open world in this game and how everything fits together perfectly, it's almost like Dark Souls 1 if you're familiar with that. Everything is an interconnected web that just absolutely works in harmony. If you like the Metroid games and you're on the fence about this one, get off. Go buy this game today. Let's prove to Nintendo that we want more Metroid games and we want the remasters. Let's try to get them physically if we can too. We can only do that through sales, so help me out here, folks. If you like Metroid like I do, don't sit on the fence. The last thing I really want to mention about this is if you're familiar with the way Nintendo's been handling their remakes and remasters on the Switch, this game is probably in limited print, so I would highly recommend getting this game soon, as your opportunity will probably dry up and you will have to drop a pretty penny on it. This game is a blast, so let's move on now to our number 1 game.
What is that?
That fragile sword. A link. Raru placed his faith in you. And that was all you could do.
How do you know our names?
That's right, folks. Game of the Year and number 1 overall is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom. There's no way this game could not be number 1. This game is a blast. I will admit, I'm not as blown away per se as Breath of the Wild was. That was a whole new experience on a whole new console. But everything that they added to this game, they one-upped that game in every way, shape, and form. The world map is bigger, the items and weapon selection is bigger, the enemies are greater and vaster, the world has more to it, the story has more to it, the upper world, the underworld, the character interactions, everything that goes on in this game is an improvement. This is the swan song, probably the pinnacle of what they're able to actually accomplish on the Switch. I really don't know that they could have gotten any more out of this game or this console. This is Game of the Year on my list and everybody else's for a reason. Nintendo really did break the bank on this and give us everything we could ask for. I love the fact that Nintendo still cares this much to keep improving this much, and it really excites me for the future of Zelda. It's great to see how this exploded. Well, thank you for watching today's video. It was a blast to make. If you enjoyed this, please like and subscribe. And have a great rest of your day. This is Ogre 27 Kane, and we'll see you in 2024.
King Raru and Queen Sonia? But that must mean